What are the most suitable materials if you want to build a sustainable home?
When we have to speak about sustainability and about houses and about home, it depends on the material of the place in which we are building. I mean, there is not a real sustainable material if we think in general, because every material is sustainable if we think about the place. What I mean is that the importance when we build a house in general, every kind of buildings, is to take the material of the place itself. So if we build close to a region in which the stones, for example, are quite possible to take, and the environment is quite good, so we can take wood or stones, it's better than we take place and material in the place itself. So the sustainable material is a material that comes from the place where we build.
What is the best solution to insulate a house?
The isolation is more or less a very similar thinking about the material, because the sustainability about isolation, it's mainly related to natural materials. For example, wool, animal wool, or wooden pieces, or other items like waste of irons and this kind of thing. So mainly the best isolation is natural material. But we also have to think that this material can be taken from the normal life, the normal using of materials. For example, a very good isolation for sound is the folders of the eggs. And a lot of time it's used as a sound isolation. So if we think about our daily life, we can take a lot of materials from our daily life and take it.
Which renewable energy source do you think is the best if you look over costs and efficiency?
For renewable energy, we should think about where to use the renewable energy. I mean, the best solution, we can speak about best solution if we think about Mediterranean countries, and if we think about Central Europe is another renewable energy. If we think about Northern Europe, it will be another one, because mainly all the geographical region are different from place to place, and also the environment condition. So for example, in the Mediterranean country, the best solution is the solar energy. But it's not the same for northern country, because for northern country renewable energy, it's better to improve the wind energy or wheels in general. In the Central Europe, they work a lot about they deal a lot with the renovation about water, so not wasting water or restoring water in the water system. So it depends on the geographical area.
Which are the most requested ones instead?
The most requested one is the solar energy, for sure. Solar energy is the renewable energy that is the more requested, and at the same time it's also the one that the state are investing more in during these years, from north to south. The solar energy is the big one.
How can you overcome aesthetic and space problems using a photovoltaic system?
About the photovoltaic system, we can manage with the aesthetic and functionalism. There are a lot of offices and architectural studios that deal with it. For example, there are a lot of examples of furnitures or urban design, like benches or lights. They have at the same time the solar panel in itself. Or for example, there are also a lot of kind of protection for cars in parking, that they have the solar energy panel inside of them. So it's only a matter of
Is it possible to apply geothermal energy in plant for domestic scope?
Yes, is it possible? I don't know how much it's is it suitable. I mean, it's possible for sure. The thing is that a lot of people, a lot of researchers think that geothermal energy for houses and for building in general is quite expensive compared to the earning of energy that you can get. So geothermal energy, it's quite changeable according to the ground. So it's not very sure. I mean, in terms earning energy. sense.
Could it be possible to install wind turbines on buildings in big cities?
Yes, it is possible, and actually it's also something that people are actually doing in a lot of places in the world. The thing is that you shouldn't think only about the sustainability in terms of houses, but in terms of the city. That is the main issue. So it's a thinking that you should make on the city and not only on single buildings.
Would wooden window frames ensure a better thermal insulation?
Yes, wood is for sure a better thermal isolation, but it's not the only one. I mean, the materials are there are plenty of material that we can use for isolation, and it's not only wood, the main one that you so wood is some kind of traditional material, but it's not the
Is
only
it
one.
helpful to have a forced ventilation system to ensure an exchange of air and healthy environment?
Yes, it's helpful, and it's something that in traditional architecture has always been done. If we think about our country, about Italy, or about all the European country, we see that all the traditional architecture was already thought and already designed for this aim, because the ventilation and the air exchange in the building is something that we always had in our tradition. So it's possible, and it's for sure it's helpful.
What is the best technique to make a room soundproof?
Best technique mainly is to use a good material that, of course, it's kind of barrier for sounds. And speaking about soundproof, we can use every lot of different type of material that goes from the clothes, from the plastic material, or also some kind of glass, or at the same time it's very used all the wasted material that comes from the wool. So mainly clothes material made of texture are the one that works the most.
When we talk about eco-friendly room, we can avoid mentioning the hanging garden. What do you think of it? What role does it play in the house's economy? Can we realize a garden on the balcony? Is it preferable to have it on the terrace?
Yes, this kind of gardens and all the green area that are made in houses are very helpful. First of all, they take a lot of water, so if you combine a good garden with a kind of system that can take the water from the environment and make it renewable, so to take this water that comes from the environment and using for the domestic using in general, it's something that it really works. The problem is that the green is not enough to, if you don't combine this system, because the green is a system with the house itself. So if you do something separated from the house, it's not helpful for the house itself.
Which means can we take to ensure a better illumination of the rooms of the houses? Which means can we use to get better lighting in our homes?
There are a lot of low impact lights and also production company that produce a lot of lights they have low impact if we speak about energy, and so I think that mainly it's the first steps to reduce the consuming of energy is to know and to analyze the different solution that you can get on website or from the company. So is it possible to reduce the
Homogenic windows?
Important solution if we think about also the wasting of heat mainly, and at the same time the wasting of solar light. But I don't think it's a good mean to reduce the consume. But at the same time it's not enough, because the losing of energy from the house to the external environment mainly it's connected to the walls and not to the windows. So to make a better isolation on walls and on the constructed materials, it's better than to reduce the energy waste with windows mainly.
Would the exposure to the sun of the dwelling confer benefits? Which ones? What would be the best position to provide greater exposure to the sun?
It depends on the area. Like you should always considering the house exposure when you build, of course. The problem is that you cannot have a general schedule or a general design to expose for an exposure of a house, because it's changed from place to place. The thing is that usually you should think that the rooms in which you have a daily activity, so you are in the rooms you are going to stay more in your day, and because you have more activity there, they should be more exposed to the sunlight, because they should be more warmed by the solar light in general. And usually the architects and the engineer design the house considering this, so considering the room of daily life activities, and instead the room in which, for example, you just sleep, or the services, or you use them just once once or twice, really few times in daily life, they usually are exposed to north or to usually direction that they don't get a lot of sun, because they don't need, actually. They can be also cooler, or they can also
vertical forest residential towers.
Vertical forest is a quite famous project. My idea about vertical forest is that the idea is very nice, and it's very, how do you say? We can say it's very romantic in a way. It's very aesthetical. His aesthetic is very interesting. The problem is that I don't think that it really solves the problem of sustainability and renewable energy. Because if you think about if you also take the design of this tower, it's made of balcony and mainly of trees that hang on balcony. But I think that a tree, if you see the render and the 3D views there, they are really nice and really good looking. The thing is that I don't think that a tree is of that wideness. For example, if you see the render, there are cherry trees or oaks or very big trees. The problem is that I don't think that a balcony can't stand this weight or can't stand this wideness. So the thing is that we should separate, we should share from what is good and beautiful and it works, and what it doesn't work. Because the problem in sustainability is mainly this. A lot of people just speak about sustainability and about renewable energy without knowing what it is, or without caring about if it works or not. Because I think that project is very nice, very beautiful, but I don't think it works. Because also, if you see the technical drawing, there is something wrong, because you have the wideness of the tree, the wideness of the branches, and then you have the wideness of the roots that is half. But usually the roots have a wideness that is like the branches. So if you don't considering the growing of a tree on a balcony, this project is not going to work.
How many families will this building be able to accommodate?
I think a lot. That's the one of the issue that about the project. The issue about the project is to mainly to deal with a lot of inhabitants of the building of the complex. But I think that there are other solutions to manage with the same issue of the population and of the renewable energy. I don't think that if we think also about the material, about the building itself, okay, it can be a good. It could have also a lot of very good system of not wasting energy or exposure and this kind of things, but it's concrete. So it's something that for buildings, it has a lot of emissions. So I don't think that build skyscrapers and just cover them with vegetable elements is the solution to the sustainability of the architecture.
What material are used to create the basic structure of the walls in them?
If we speak about today, the main material is concrete. For sure, the concrete is the most used material of nowadays. But the solutions that are renewable for the sustainability and at the same time also for the sustainability, not only in a matter of ecology, but in a matter of economics, there are several materials.
Do you think it would be possible to build a vertical forest in all cities?
Yes, it could be possible. The problem is that it's not going to solve the problem of the city, because if we think that sustainability is just related to the buildings, we are not going to effort the real problem, because we should think in a more wide way of the issue.
Have you ever heard about Made in Italy design philosophy?
Yes, Made in Italy design philosophy, it's a quite good way of providing and of managing the problem of sustainability. And I think it's a good way, because it's a critical way to see the problem. So it's not just to create something that it's beautiful and it has a good aesthetics, but also something that works. For example, a lot of MED projects are not wonderful in the aesthetics, but they really work in a good way, thinking about the sustainability and the environment. So that is the main issue that we should afford in our research.
How long will it take to build the structure of MED in Italy?
About the project, I cannot. I don't know how long it's going to take. But the thing is that mainly the project of MED in Italy are not something that it is going to take a lot to build. I mean, they are quite simple projects. So the material and the way of constructing it's quite possible to deal with it in a short time compared to the other buildings. So it's good also for the kind of chronological.
Do you think these two types of projects are suitable for families?
Yes, they are. I think that also about the costs, they are quite good, because we have also to think about the fact that we cannot speak about sustainability if we don't speak about economical sustainability, because we can have a lot of items and a lot of systems that works, but if they are expensive, we cannot propose them to families and to people, because of course the very high tall skyscrapers full of offices can afford the investing in this technology, but not average family of Mediterranean. So we have to give economical and possibility of.
Will the houses have high building costs?
I don't think so. Like in speaking about MED architecture, I don't think it's going to be high, the price. It depends on what kind of buildings we are speaking about. Of course, if we think about a vertical forest, for example, we were speaking before, I think it's quite expensive, and I think that I would like to know how many families could provide to such cost on the flat in a vertical forest, because I was saying that you cannot build something that it works, and I mean it works and it works at the same time. It's renewable energy, and at the same time it has a high price. There doesn't exist sustainability with an high price, because it's not sustainable.
What are the aims of this project?
The aim of this project in general is to enforce the program and to provide actually the good improving in the environment, thanks to the houses and to the architectural solution. And I think that the main issue is to think also about the city as a system and not just has frames of little elements, because that's the main problem that the countries in Europe are doing. They are just thinking about the city policy as something made with frames, with buildings. It's not like that. We should think about the transport, public transports and transportations in general. We should think about the waste in general, that all the cities are made with foods and with trashes every day, daily. We have to manage with these problems. We cannot manage with the single frames or the single buildings, because the real challenge is to face with the city problems.